The figures tell a clear story. 95% of amphibian species are under threat. For indigenous bats, the situation is not much better. Around half are at risk. The same goes for dragonflies. 2 out of 3 species face extinction. It's quite clear that statutory nature conservation and environmental protection measures are not sufficient to prevent the extinction of some species, or that something has gone wrong in their implementation.
In the case of most animal groups, we simply don't know enough about the extent of the danger, let alone about how they could be effectively protected. But not in the case of birds. For years, the Swiss Ornithological Station has been able to rely on a wide network of voluntary employees. Tirelessly, they collect data and record their observations of the native bird population. Thanks to their valuable work, assessing the state of individual bird species is a relatively straightforward task.
More effort must be made to protect birds in Switzerland. In contrast to other animal species, in the case of birds, we have a clear picture of their numbers in our country. This has prompted the Swiss Ornithological Station and BirdLife Switzerland to launch a new initiative.
Rescue is needed as 40% of birds are also endangered species. The snipe, for instance, is under serious threat of extinction. Now the Ornithological Station and BirdLife Switzerland are pooling their resources and trying to find new approaches. They're starting a species promotion program. It's planned to target and help 50 endangered species of birds. But where to begin? As always in nature, there's not enough money and expertise to go round.
In Switzerland, so many species are under threat that we can't make any progress with the resources that are available. We have to set our priorities accordingly. We've analysed which species of birds most urgently need help.
As well as the danger of extinction, Switzerland's international responsibility is also important. Birds that are present in large numbers in Switzerland compared with the rest of Europe, or which are endangered in Europe, take priority, like the red-crested pochard. 20,000 birds of this species winter on Swiss waters, almost half the European population.
A rather demanding forest dweller, the middle-spotted woodpecker, also falls into the category of endangered birds. It's one of the 50 candidates for the Species Promotion Programme, run by BirdLife Switzerland and the Ornithological Station. The middle-spotted woodpecker is very particular about its habitat and has a preference for large but sparsely wooded forests with old oak trees. Only 250 middle-spotted woodpecker pairs still breed in Switzerland. The birds search for food in the rough bark of the oak trees. Because of this, they only live in coppices.
Coppices with their old oak trees are the product of a traditional form of agriculture. Large oak trees have been left standing for the benefit of pig farms, while the younger trees are occasionally cut down for their timber. The cultivation of coppices is no longer profitable, and as a result, middle-spotted woodpeckers are no longer to be found in many low-lying areas.
Because the stocks of middle-spotted woodpecker are largely isolated from each other, we achieve little by only carrying out conservation measures in individual woods. To preserve this bird species, it's very important that forest owners all over Switzerland take part in the conservation project.
In contrast to the middle-spotted woodpecker, it's already been possible to help the kingfisher through localized measures. The water quality in our rivers has improved and streams have been renaturalized in many places. What the kingfisher still needs are steep sandbanks like these. It excavates its nesting hole in the bank, inaccessible to predators in search of the young and well protected against bad weather. Most rivers lack the current power and space to create the banks that are suitable for kingfishers.
And that's where the voluntary bird conservationists are stepping in. Where sandbanks are not steep enough for the kingfisher, they're turned into ideal breeding grounds without further ado. Slaving away for the kingfisher, part of the Species Promotion Programme. And so that the kingfisher immediately recognizes the wall as an ideal breeding place, he gets a little assistance with his house building.
But we don't always know what bird species need to survive. In the case of some species, the exact reason why they are in danger isn't obvious. Take the cuckoo, another bird in the species promotion programme. Although it's found all over the country and is not especially choosy when it comes to its breeding environment, there's been a serious decline in its numbers in recent years, above all in the lowlands. Its most important host birds are still common, so this can't be the reason for the decline.
Research is therefore an important element in species promotion. Without precise information, it's impossible to act with the required purpose. Take the example of the hoopoe in the Valais. Mike Shard is inspecting the familiar breeding grounds for the Conservation Biology Department at the University of Bern. The question he has to answer: what do the hoopoes feed their chicks? The study has a clear result. In the Valais, mole crickets make up the largest portion of the diet.
Good news for the hoopoe. Mole crickets are common enough, yet one of the results of the study is particularly important for the conservation efforts. It seems that when the weather is bad, the birds cannot get hold of any mole crickets. In Switzerland, there are just under 100 breeding couples. What can be done to ensure that the young birds don't become very weak during a spell of bad weather? Can an alternative diet be developed? The species promotion programme is always on the lookout for appropriate ways of finding a solution.
Our experiences show that you can promote a species in a targeted manner, but this requires a will to cooperate at various levels. Because of the time pressure, we must make the most of our opportunities now.
The corn cake is showing the first results of a cooperation project of this type. In the 1970s it had died out in Switzerland, but now around a dozen pairs are breeding here again every year. BirdLife Switzerland was able to persuade several cantons and, more importantly, numerous farmers to participate in the conservation programme. Farmers in the Lower Engadine, for example, mow their alpine meadows in a corn cake-friendly way. The species promotion programme run by BirdLife Switzerland and the Swiss Ornithological Station may not be able to achieve miracles, but in the long term it will make a decisive contribution to ensuring that the list of endangered species doesn't become any longer.